Hey everyone, you know what time it is. For today's rework, we are gonna do Sombra. So as you guys already know, these reworks are done in two different parts. First, I choose one main component of a character to focus on. In this video, it's gonna be Sombra's hack ability. And then with your feedback and, the mix and matching what everybody thinks, after I go through the comments of, what all you guys think about my suggestions and read over your suggestions, I do a full rework video where I don't just do the hack. For example, I would also kind of include the hack, the invisibility, and a whole bunch of other things. So no, all these ideas aren't meant to be applied at the same time. So it's supposed to be a mix and match kind of thing, depending on what you guys like and don't like. So yeah, like I said, this video will focus on her hack ability because it's essentially what her entire kit and character is kind of built around. So no, we're not talking about invisibility or damage or, her teleporting stuff in this video. So yeah, the problem with Sombra's hacking is, well, it's the entire hacking part of it, right? Her main quirk is something that developers said they completely wanted to stop doing, and that stuff is things that prevent other people from playing the game. And it's a very like annoying CC type of stuff. Getting hacked sucks, especially before, when you just couldn't really do anything for I think it was like maybe 4 seconds or something. So you're just kind of standing there looking dumb waiting because you can't do anything. It was extremely unfun to play against. However, I still prefer getting hacked over playing against a hog. So lets you know how bad hog is right now. Anyways, Sombra is really not good for the game. Whenever she's meta, the game sucks. So this might actually be the hardest thing to fix because, well, essentially what we're trying to do is what we're trying to get rid of, the entire thing that it does. So we essentially kind of just have to replace it with something. I do want to say that I actually don't mind too much the hacking, well, the way they adapted her hacking ability for Overwatch 2. And I'm saying this as a Doomfist player because I think they did probably the best they could have done to keep it that way, as in something that prevents you from using your abilities. I think this is the most mitigated way of doing it, but I don't know. I don't really think there's a workaround for stopping somebody from using their abilities and having that not be just a horrible thing to play against. I couldn't think of anything like that. And if you guys can, go ahead, put it in the comments and we can circle back. I could probably make a part 2 before I do the full rework, right? So, there are no real rules. But yeah, because now she just kind of cancels your ability and then you can't really use your abilities for, I think, 1.5 seconds. And I think they did what they could have done with it. And I would argue that the worst thing about her is that the worst thing about Sombra is that they don't communicate with their team and randomly hack people and get 0 value from it. I would argue that's actually the worst thing about Sombra. Just her kit relies too much on her team being able to follow up on it. Yeah, and they did try to mitigate that before, where I think she did extra damage to hacked targets. I don't know if that's still the case. But yeah, I guess we can review what her hack currently does. So yeah, her hack does several things. It hacks health packs, which makes them, come back a lot faster, which is pretty cool. It interrupts abilities, turns off transformations if like a Bastion turns into his turret form. And it used to increase the amount of damage the target took, but I'm not entirely sure. I looked into the wiki to see if it was still there. It didn't look like it was still there, so maybe it just wasn't there anymore. Maybe they removed it, because I don't think I've played Sombra at all in Overwatch 2, so I'm not sure. She used to be my second main in Overwatch 1 though, for a while before I switched over to the hit scan characters. But yeah, another perk about her, well, not really a perk, but another mechanic about her hacking is that if she takes damage while hacking, it stops the hack from being completed. So there are quite a few things here. Also, don't forget that at the end of the video, I normally do a wildcard section, but because of the nature of this ability, and since we're completely trying to revamp it and replace it with something, again, because I don't think there's a way to make it fun to play against, having your abilities, just off of you, preventing you from using your abilities. I think everything that's going to be proposed is going to be pretty fun and cool. So you can kind of just consider everything to be wildcard. So yeah, because we're trying to replace it, right? So first off, let's go in with the whole flavor and vibe. As you guys know, it's very important for me that the character has a good flow and kind of sticks to their theme. So Sombra's theme is being an OP hacker, right? So I want to mix that in with an ideology of not impeding the enemy abilities, not impeding the enemy from doing the things they're trying to do. So with that in mind, what do hackers do best? What hackers do best is things like viruses, malware, spyware, all that type of stuff. Now, because we don't want to impede the target's ability to play the game, I decided to apply all this and I focused more on a damage mechanic with all of this, with some utility. So I separated into 4 different categories: malware, viruses, spyware, and quality of life. I think that will go perfectly with her tech hacking themes. And with that, let's begin. So first off is malware. So what is malware, right? Malware is something that essentially, it's put in your computer, whether you download it or whatever, and it essentially harms the computer slowly within, or immediately within, but slowly within. So the first version of the malware is a detonation mechanic where Sombra could hack into an enemy player and then activate it later on. So it detonates inside the hacked character with an AoE hack explosion. So it'll do the same effect, the same, I guess the graphic effect she does when she does her ultimate, maybe, or just a regular hack effect, where it does an AoE damage to everybody involved. So she'll be able to leave the malware onto the target for any amount of time. I don't know if she should be able to keep it on the target if she dies or not. I don't know, but she can leave it on the target for a certain amount of time or any amount of time to be detonated at very strategic times. So when the person is about to die, or when the person is trying to run away, or if somebody next to them is about to die, she can turn it on, and then she could detonate it, and then the AoE blast will kind of just finish off the other character. So I think you guys can kind of see where I'm going with these things. I want to put in a much more strategic, type of gameplay with her, because as I'm going through these, you're going to see that it's possible for some of these things to stack. Different combinations could do different things, and I think it'll be pretty cool. But yeah, the second one for the malware is a damage over time AoE thing. So this will essentially be, again, something Sombra can hack onto a character without them knowing. And then when she wants to activate it, she activates it. And for this one, it would be more like Ramatra's ultimate, as in the person with the malware automatically starts doing damage to all the teammates around them, doing 25 damages a second for like 5 seconds. Not unlike Ash's dynamite. The difference is, 1, there is no explosion damage like Ash's dynamite does, and 2, unlike Ramatra, the person infected can and should leave to isolate themselves in order to protect their team from, the malware that's in their system. I think this would be cool, not just for damage, but also for removing an enemy teammate from the fight. Like, they'll have to do it themselves, or they wreck their entire team. So you'll be essentially quarantining the virus, or the malware, which actually is kind of how it works in computers, right? And it's just for a very short amount of time, right? What did I say, like 5 seconds? So the third one, this one's easy. It's not that fun, controversial. It might be a little controversial, because it's essentially just the person who's hacked, they just take more damage, right? It'll be controversial in the way that Mercy's damage boost is controversial, or Zen's Discord is a little controversial. Zen's Discord is not as controversial because there's plays you can do against it, right? You can kind of hide and then wait for the Discord to go away, while you can never get rid of a damage boosted character that Mercy is pocketing. So that's a different conversation. So yeah, this one's not as cool. I actually don't even, I think I just put it on the list because it's a possibility. It's simple, but I think the other two for the malware it's pretty fucking cool. So the next category is spyware, and spyware essentially, it just kind of steals your information to give it to some other entity, the entity that kind of that it's sourced from. So just to steal like credit cards, the websites you're like going over, and just basic information, your passwords, kind of like TikTok. So the first thing for the spyware, I think, is pretty normal. I think a basic thing would be that your entire team should be able to see the hacked targets through walls, Maybe even see their HP, their cooldowns, and their ultimate and the progress towards the ultimate buildup, that type of information. Maybe it can hover over their heads, like the hacked targets' heads, or just appear on your teammate's UI and point it out. But the point is, it would be like spyware revealing your information, like the hacked target's information. So that's easy. Another one is stolen passives. Maybe another effect could be anything positive that happens to the hacked target can also kind of be applied to Sombra in like a mitigated way. So things like a damage boost or healing, or even you building up ult charge. So let's say if there's spyware, if she hacks spyware into the enemy while the person's getting healed by or pocketed by their mercy, she will receive like maybe 20% of whatever that other the hacked target is getting. So she could be healing or being damage boosted without even really knowing, but only the positive stuff, right? So only things that benefit her. The last one is kind of stupid. It's actually really dumb, but I wanted to throw it in there just because I thought it'd be fun to talk about. Kind of like the last one that I had for Malware is also kind of not that fun. But if you hack a spyware into an enemy for a certain amount of time, if you could maybe listen to their team chat, like their voice comms and things like that, or even read the team chat. I think that'll be interesting, but that'll be done for two reasons. One, nobody really uses voice comms in Overwatch 2, and two, it's probably just gonna be a bunch of people yelling the F word and N bombs every 2 seconds. So no, fuck that. But maybe the team chat could be possible, but I don't know. Everybody just uses the hotkeys, right? So yeah, this is just a dumb idea I wanted to throw in there. So next is the viruses. So viruses corrupt files and prevent them from doing what they're supposed to do. So I apply this in various effects in the game that are supposed to do one thing but instead do another. Also remember, these are only for a few seconds, so I don't know, you can just say everything I'm about to say. It lasts for like 4 seconds or something. So the first one is reverse healing. So for this one, I was wondering, how do people in Overwatch get healed? Like with Mercy Beam and Moira's spray and all those other things. Like what is it about him that actually heals a person? And I kind of settled on everyone in this future has nanomachines in them that can be stimulated to repair the person's body, or maybe these things that Mercy or Brig is kind of throwing at people is it could possibly just be the actual nanomachines they're throwing into you to kind of repair your cells and things like that. So I was thinking, what if those nanomachines that are kind of inside of all these characters were hacked to actually do harm to them? So yeah, when you're hacked, instead of healing, the healing hurts you. I think this will be pretty wild, but not necessarily OP. Because healers would have to just stop healing you, right? That one target that's been hacked, so they just need to ignore that person. So maybe a Brig would have to leave, or you would just have to get away from your Brig or a Lucio or something like that. And the rate of HP gained when you're being healed is not that crazy, right? It's not like incredibly fast, right? We can even mitigate this. So maybe for every 2 HP you heal, you lose 1, right? But you don't gain any HP. So you lose half as much HP that you would have healed. So yeah, so I think this one would be this one's an interesting one. I think this one's a really cool, interesting mechanic. So yeah, reverse healing is the first thing for the virus. So you're getting the flavor, right? So when something's supposed to affect you a certain way, instead it affects you a different way. So as I was actually writing the previous one, the reverse healing, I was like, why not reverse everything, right? So the second one is just reverse everything, as in all the status effects you can get. So being boosted by a Lucio speed boost would actually make you move slower. Bap's mortality field will actually, it wouldn't kill you, but it'll prevent you from being full health while not giving you any protection at all. And like little things like that. Shooting somebody who has a Discord on them would actually make you do less damage instead of the person taking more damage. So yeah, just like, little tweaks and things there like that. And again, all these things would only last like maybe 4 seconds at a time while the person is hacked, and it can only affect one person at a time. Unless, well, we'll look into that later. But the last category is quality of life, or quality of life disruptions and, things like that. So this section will just be small things here and there that kind of inconvenience the hacked target. So the first one is interruptions. First of all, I'm fine with hacks still interrupting abilities, but I'm not really sure if it's necessary anymore, especially with the other things I just suggested. Maybe they only kept it for the flavor. Well, definitely, but maybe we can keep it just for the flavor, but that's kind of the only reason why it's here. I don't find it too oppressive, but you know, just stopping, like if I'm Doomfist and I'm like in the middle of punching somebody and they just suddenly stop, it sucks. It does suck, but it's not that bad. But yeah, this version wouldn't keep you from using all your other moves. It just kind of stops the ability you're currently using, so it just kind of resets the cooldown, and that's it. All your other moves are still fair game. So the second thing I thought I can do for quality of life reductions is remove the target's their UI. So you still have access to all your abilities, but you don't really know what your health is. You don't know where your cooldowns are at. You don't have your your hit marker anymore. You don't even know how close you are of getting your ult. Like it's just it just replaces it with her signature skull pattern. And another variation of this, I'm gonna make it its own thing. It's just completely wrong UI, like in the previous one where you just couldn't really see anything. This one just gives you wrong information. Like your HP is wrong, your cooldowns are wrong, your ultimate charge is wrong. Like everything about it is wrong. So you can still do it. The problem is everything you're seeing on your screen is just wrong. And another thing I had thought about is, you know, switching the buttons around. So like if you try to go forward, it makes you go left. If you try to go back, it makes you go right. All that type of stuff. But I think that's just dumb and probably worse than getting hacked. It's just insanely annoying. So yeah, no, none of that. So yeah, I think it would be cool if somehow one of each of these abilities could be incorporated. One of, you know, the malware, the spyware, and the virus, and maybe one or two things. I don't know about the quality of life. I'm not really too excited about that section, but malware, spyware, and the viruses, I think that would be really cool, especially because it's all damage based now, right? So it's no more, it doesn't impede you from doing anything. But yeah, there aren't enough buttons for everything to be there unless they remove her teleportation or her invisibility or something like that. But I do think maybe her invisibility would be necessary for this, you know, so she can sneak in the back line and then apply it to somebody and then get the fuck out and then detonate whatever or activate whatever needs to be activated later. But it does seem like these things could possibly be stacked on top of each other. So yeah, with a lot of these things, I think it'll fix her damage problem because it allows her to stack her abilities, right? She can have the malware that does the AoE damage over time while she's shooting at somebody. She can, you get what I'm saying. And I think it'll make her feel really tactical, since she could essentially stack things. She can time things very effectively. She can see that, oh, that person's about to die, click, or that person's next to this person, so if I activate it now, click. Like just, I think it's a very cool wait and see strategic, very you know, hacker type of gameplay. I think it's pretty cool. And most importantly, again, it does not impede on the enemy's ability to play the freaking game. Just stick to damage, Blizzard. She's DPS. Don't make things too complicated. And, you know, I threw in some utility here and there too. Anyways, those are my ideas. Let me know what you think. And don't forget, we are only focusing on the hacking abilities in this video. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. As I say every video, it helps with the algorithm. So yeah, I love you.